Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to The Breakdown.
The
with
Breakdown.
your not so humble talking hairdo, Ben, and our resident Viking Texas Aggie, Blake. It is great to be back with you. We were on hiatus last week because my man here was out of town in Colorado doing a little vacay time with his lady friend.
Yeah.
We're live at the Neon Parrot Live Studios at the historic Majestic Coffee Shop. Come get you a drink. Come get a sparkling water if you so choose.
A little Onyx tea,
Maybe
like I have over here.
a little Onyx tea, maybe a CBD infused tea soda thing.
Oh yeah.
Lots of good stuff over here, guys. Don't get thirsty. So what we have for all of us today here is kind of a big day, we're in that kind of part of the sports year that slows down, but we did have some excitement last weekend, and that was the Masters. Rory McIlroy, the Northern Irishman, wins the Masters in crazy fashion. It was
nuts.
It was a playoff. The way that golf playoffs works is something that I can't explain because I don't know exactly. I just know I've seen it a couple of times.
hoping you can explain it to me, so I'm very disappointed right now.
So basically, I think the plan is that they played 15 and then 18.
Yeah.
And then they basically go back and forth until somebody gets a better score.
Okay.
And Rory basically, he's got I don't really understand why, because golf is one of those sports where it's so hard to win. Consistently too is crazy, but he has joined, I think, 6 other guys in the history of golf.
That's right. I knew he moved up into pure savage mode.
Yeah, so to
world.
complete the career Grand Slam, I think there's only 6 other golfers. So he's amongst Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus.
There we go.
I think maybe Nick Faldo, some other guys.
Yeah.
But it was pretty incredible, and Rory's one of those guys that you either love him or you hate him. I like him because I'm a Conor McGregor guy. I just like all these Irish
guys. I like guys that are that way. I don't consider it cockiness after that when you can back it up.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can back it up, that's not being cocky. That's just self-assurance of, I know what my capabilities are.
Yes.
I know what I can do. I can back it up. So therefore, you can say whatever you want.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, man. And so everybody here at the Breakdown was excited for Rory. I actually placed a little wager on Rory.
Did you?
Won. I did.
Nice.
On Wednesday before the Masters even started.
I was happy to see him win it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Because that was the one tournament, the one major that he's been chasing for, what'd they say, like 15 years or something?
Been a minute.
And he's come very close. And what's cool, because I'm not a huge golf fan, but I like these big tournaments like the Masters.
Yeah.
Mainly because it's just pretty to watch on TV. Yeah. And then I really like the British Open, which is this coming month.
Yeah.
And it is in
May.
It is in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
In his backyard.
That's gonna be cool.
So what if Rory wins the Masters and somehow wins the British Open in Northern Ireland? How crazy would that be? That would be cool.
That reminds me of in a different field of sports, but Hathor Bjornsson ran the gauntlet of strongman a few years back and won every single strongman event for that whole year, including the world's strongest man. And that was like, what the? You know what I mean?
That guy's
a
giant.
So impressive to me. I have a picture of me. I'll send it and bring it up next week for the breakdown, but of me standing next to Brian Shaw.
Uh-huh.
You don't know.
Is that the British guy?
He's the American, the one from Colorado. He comes here to Abilene a lot for Chike. And I saw him at one of my favorite barbecue places, The Shed. Little plug there.
Mm-hmm.
He was eating there, and I have never felt like a small human until I met that man.
Wow,
And,
big dude.
And Hathor Bjornsson is equal to his size. So those two are massive. When you think that Eddie Hall is a small man in the strongman world, he's 6'3", 380 pounds.
Whoa,
that's a small man in the world's strongest man world.
dude,
Just think about
crazy.
that. 6'3", almost 400 pounds. I think it was 411 when he won it.
Wow,
But crazy.
that is absolutely crazy.
Brian Shaw
shit.
is 6'9", I believe, and Hathor Bjornsson is 6'9", both of them over 400.
Dang.
Just monsters. Anyways.
Doesn't the world's strongest man go take place in the summertime? Or
well, yes.
they do different.
They have different events all year. You have, like, your home country event, then you win that. And then you have, like, there's, like, the Arnold, you win that. And then you have the World's Strongest Man competition. Then you have, like, some other ones. Clash of the Titans type deal.
Right.
So they kind of go on throughout the year.
Speaking of big dudes that are strong and such, this weekend, because I have to admit to the breakdown audience, I am a fan of the WWE again.
Really?
Yeah. I've been watching it with my boy for the last month, and it's terrible. It's just goofy.
So terrible, it's great.
But, it just takes me back to my childhood.
Yeah.
And some of these guys are like the CM Punk fella. I don't remember him.
He's been around.
But he's been around for 30
early
years.
2000s, right?
Yeah. Like
he's been around. Oh, wow.
Like almost the late 90s he's been in.
I forgot he did come in.
I don't remember
right
him.
Up the end of the line. He was real small and he had the X's on his hand. He was straight laced.
Yeah.
Back when that whole movement was going on.
Yeah.
We don't drink. We don't smoke.
Straight edge.
Straight edge. That's
yeah.
what it's called.
Okay.
Straight edge. Yeah. I just remember him from that.
So
and he wasn't that big back then.
Right.
He grew over time. Well, big as in popularity.
Yes. So WrestleMania is here this weekend. It is on Peacock. So if you have Peacock, you can watch it. You don't have to pay for the pay-per-view anymore.
I'm gonna watch it.
It is so much fun.
And it's like a 2-day deal. I think it's
Saturday and Sunday.
You have Fridays, all the interviews and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Then you have Saturdays, the big day. And
yes. So either
Sunday.
Thursday or Friday, I think for like guys our age, the coolest thing is going to be the Hall of Fame inductees.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And that's the day before. So it's either tonight or Friday. Yeah. And that's they're gonna.
I want to say that's Friday.
Yeah. I think Stone Cold's already in. There's a bunch of guys, but there's some really old guys.
Undertaker's in there. There's a few in there.
But I think Stone Cold and I think Undertaker and some other people are going to be doing the ceremony, like inducting dudes, you know, and they're going to have all kinds of old clips from the good old days. And so I got on Amazon and ordered me an NWO Wolfpack shirt for a gym shirt the other day. I'm probably going to wear it here.
Nice.
So, because whenever I was like probably in 9th grade or something, 8th grade, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall.
I'm not going to do the other symbol I did all the time, too.
Yeah.
That was DX.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I got put in detention for that.
For real.
Telling a teacher, you know what you can do?
Yeah.
Just kidding. Just kidding, Brayden. I would never be like that as a child.
So,
I was a great kid.
But, you know, it was funny because I was talking to another guy, my barber, the other day, Wade, the Straight Blade Wade. Better be watching, bro. But anyways, he's a huge wrestling fan. And I was like, were you a WCW or a WWF guy? Because I think we were all a little both. But at the height of my like love for wrestling, I was a WCW guy. Yeah. I loved the NWO, the Hollywood Hogan comes back.
Well, and you got to think like it was, I think I've talked about this before on the breakdown. If I did, I'm sorry, I'm going to talk about it again. But it was Kevin Nash and Scott Hall.
Yeah.
They left, they did the curtain call at WWE. What was it called back then? WWF.
Yeah.
And they did the curtain call, which is a big no-no. Them and Shawn Michaels and Triple H, which all of them got in trouble for. All of them lost, like, or whatever it's called, position. If you will. And then Scott Hall and Kevin Nash went to WCW and launched the Outsiders, which turned into the NWO Wolfpack and all that stuff just skyrocketed from there. They
So
brought on
cool.
Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan turned heel for the first time.
Yes.
Oh, dude, the good old days. That's what was so cool about WCW.
It's kind of messed up to say, but I feel like the WWF was kind of the white trash wrestling.
Well, they did turn that way. Well, remember
because they had language on there that WCW
they had to do something about the NWO. The NWO was killing ratings.
Yeah.
So they came out with, that's about the same time DX.
Yeah, okay.
Came out, and then it was like, oh God, what's it, the Godfather with the whole train?
Yeah,
and then you have like, oh God, Vince the whatever, this long-haired dude that slept with women on stage. Oh, not really, but they insinuated it. Rated X, that guy came on, all this stuff, and the girls are having bikini contest or lingerie matches, all that stuff.
So they had to do something.
They had to do something that they answered it. It brought the male attention back to the WWE, or WWF at the time. But for me, I think the same as you. I was watching both.
Yeah, I was watching both.
I remember having two TVs going and being like, oh my gosh, that's the greatest.
I think my favorite wrestler probably is going to be, he went by several names, but Mick Foley, Mankind.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that guy was crazy.
So unassuming,
broke his neck, broke his back. I mean, they were
missing. He had his tooth. You watched the Undertaker match with him. His tooth was sticking out of his nose, like right here. Yeah. That's his tooth. I thought it was a booger.
Yeah.
I remember thinking like, oh, he's got a booger.
Yeah.
And then finding out years later that was his tooth stuck through his lip, and he refused to go to the hospital. Went back to finish the match.
Ugh. So yeah, I love that guy. So this weekend, WrestleMania, some of the big cards are night one, Saturday night, is a triple threat match between Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk. I'm starting to learn these guys now. Yeah.
And they're all like kin to the later generation, which is really cool.
That is cool. And all those guys have been around for a long time. And now Rey Mysterio, still wrestling.
He's still there. I remember seeing him 60. At the Royal Rumble. And I remember thinking, is that the Rey Mysterio? Or is that... Because, his son is there. Gosh, what's his son's name? Pop? No, not Poppy. I can't remember his son's name, but he wrestles with the gorgeous...
Cody Rhodes?
No. That's Dusty Rhodes' son. Rey Mysterio's son. Wrestles with one of the ladies. They just separated. Now he's with somebody else. But anyways, I can't remember her name. I can't believe it. She's the tall, dark-haired chick from Australia. Always wears the face paint and
gotcha.
Kind of crazy. Anyways, she's super awesome.
That's cool. Another one, Liv Morgan, is really popular. Morgan, I watched her on on Monday Night Raw this week, and she was whooping ass. So anyways, I'm into wrestling now.
Awesome. So
you're going to hear about it at the breakdown a little bit, especially during these times of no football or lack thereof. But not to don't be sad, breakdown, because we got the draft coming next Thursday. And next Thursday, I will also be having on a Golden Gloves boxer named Alex from California.
Nice.
I meant to have him on like months ago, and we couldn't make it work. So he's going to come on, do a little boxing talk. There's some fights coming up that are pretty big in the boxing world, even though we kind of, we have our own thoughts about boxing, but there are still some good fighters out there, and it is worth talking about. And he's a big football guy too. So draft next Thursday. We have a couple of mock drafts from some NFL Network guys, and I'm going to get Big Frank on for just one sec, and we're going to kind of sort of make our own mock draft, at least for the first few picks, and see if we can get close to what happens here, because people are going to trade up and down on this deal. Okay, let me get Big Frank on the line. Boom. Ask him what he thought about the Masters as well.
Hello.
Hey, Big Frank, how you doing?
What's going on, Ben? How are you?
Oh, man, we're doing good over here. We're getting real excited about next week.
Yeah, a week from today, isn't it?
That's right. Next Thursday is day one of the draft.
Yes, yeah. there's as it gets closer to it, you start seeing all these mock drafts and everything, and depending upon what team you root for and where you're at, there's a whole bunch of scenarios jumping out. Because this year's draft, there's really a lot of unknowns. I feel, other than it's pretty certain that Ward's going to go first as a QB, but then after that, it's like depending upon what the next two or three teams do, kind of alters like your plan per se of like who's going to be available out there. So it's been quite interesting to see what everybody thinks and how it's going to fall.
Absolutely, because the funny thing about all these mock drafts is people are going to be making last minute trades and all this kind of thing for position, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this one has your Bears. Do y'all have the number 10 pick? Is that correct?
Yeah. Right now we're sitting at number 10.
That's pretty awesome. This one guy has this offensive tackle, I think, is a possibility for you guys to get. Who do you want to see the Bears grab at number 10?
It's I think it's changed since I think we touched on this a couple weeks ago when we addressed a lot of our, obviously the biggest area on our team that needed to be addressed was the offensive line, right?
Absolutely.
And second would be the defensive line. Well, with their free agency moves, they've kind of addressed that. So then it's kind of the talk over here has been kind of away from, well, you don't have to necessarily reach and take a tackle unless one of these. I think what we hear down here is this kid from LSU, the tackle, and there's a guy from Texas. Their names escape me right now, but those are like supposedly the top two tackles in the draft, but they wouldn't be available. So, would you trade up to go get him or what have you? So since then, the talk has kind of been, well, there's a possible trade down now to gather more picks because we have it's four picks in the top 79 players, I think. So we've got a couple second rounders along with our first round and then a high third round pick. So there's a bunch of different directions. You hear a lot, and I think your Raiders kind of hold the key for us. Everybody down here likes this Gentry kid from Boise State.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Our running game is not the greatest. So, but everybody thinks that the Raiders are going to take him, and so that's where a lot of these mock drafts have. But now you're hearing the last couple of days that the Raiders may go towards an offensive lineman to type the same thing, and then after that, the next picks, they don't need offensive help, And another thing that's kind of helped it here is who picks ahead of us are the Saints. Well, this news come out recently that Derek Carr might not be able to play this whole year.
Yeah.
Because of his shoulder, so that might be a quarterback thing there. So they won't be picking an offensive lineman or this Gentry. So it really all depends on how it falls out. There's been talk lately the last couple mock drafts have us taking that Penn State tight end. I believe Warren is his name, who is probably one of the top tight ends in the draft, or tackles. So it's really, it's kind of up in the air, and I think they're just waiting to see how those top few picks, play out because, where is Sanders going to go now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like they say he could drop all the way down now to the middle to the late round of the first round. Nobody really wants to waste that high pick on a guy that might not be able to play right away. So,
absolutely. Yeah, I think that this one guy from the NFL Network has the Raiders with the 6th pick picking Sanders, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I don't understand. You guys signed Geno Smith to 2 years at $60-some million. That's paying. They must think that I think Carroll's trying to reach back to when he had success with Geno, and he's a serviceable quarterback, but you're going to have to put weapons around him. You know what I mean? So it really all depends on which way they want to go. But most of them had Gentry not falling because apparently the Raiders loved him there, but now they're kind of switching it up a little bit.
Right.
What's going to go on and what are the Giants going to do? Because Russell Wilson is just a temporary stop. Maybe a year or two. So bringing in another quarterback that can learn under it and then see how they fall out. Obviously Carter, the DN from Penn State's going to go within the top 4 or 5 picks, they said. So, he's going to be off the board. So it really all depends. It's really up in the air about what we're going to do over here. So
yeah, it's going to be exciting, and I think maybe we'll have some more insight by next week. How about the Masters? What'd you think about that?
Oh my goodness, that's riveting television. That's always one tournament that you always watch, and it just gets so exciting. And then the last day, that's crazy stuff. The way how it unfolds, and he misses the putt on 18, and then you think that's it, and then he hits back in it. It was quite something. I love watching that tournament all the time.
Yeah, that was great, and that got the best rating since Tiger's 2019 win.
Yeah, and that's I think as a sports fan, that's a bucket list item to go see, right?
Yeah.
And because I asked my son, I said, well, ticket wise, he goes, well, every year that's a different one. They don't sell those tickets. You have to go online and get in the lottery.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing it for the past 15 years, and they never pick me. I don't know how they pick it, and then you pay whatever it is, and it's not really that expensive. It's like depending upon what day you want to go. But then what happens is the ones that get it, I guess you can go on the secondary market after the fact, and buy them.
Okay.
I had a friend of mine who won, and he went to it was a Monday practice round, and he went this year, and it kind of got rained out, but he still said it was unbelievable, to be there even for practice rounds, watching them go off, and he had told me this, and I had heard this, that he goes, television doesn't do justice of how hilly and how hard of a course that is to walk.
Right.
He says the changes in elevation, and when you see them, like for instance, I think it's hole 13, that par 5, where everybody tries to reach the green and 2, or if you lay up and it hits like you hit like a beautiful shot and it just rolls all the way back down. He goes, that's like you got like a 3-yard to hit a flat surface, and everything else just rolls off of it. He goes, you can't even see the flag from where these guys are hitting, and that's how the whole course is.
That's crazy.
So you can understand why everybody, struggles with it. He goes, it's just a tough course to walk. It's very, very hilly and just very, very tough, So
yeah, my folks actually, with their friends, they went to the Masters to a practice round. I think it was 2 days of a practice round in 2015, I think it was.
Yeah.
But they said, even it being a practice round, it was still just amazing and incredible just to even get to do that, Yeah. But apparently to be there during the actual play is not easy. It's like you got to know somebody who knows somebody, I think. I don't know.
Or if you got the money, like a lot of people do, is you just got to pay for whatever the ticket prices are going for, So it's just one of those. But yeah, can you imagine if you were lucky enough to have a ticket on that Sunday?
Oh man!
And at the end, that's just that's must-watch television, So
yeah, that would be so cool. Well, man, what else do we have? We don't have much. I was going to ask you. Are you aware that the British Open this year is in Northern Ireland, in Rory's backyard?
Yeah, I had heard that. And him and Shane Lowry are another big, great friends, both from Ireland. And I was aware. I think I did read that because they switch that every year. It's either in Scotland or whatever or Ireland. So that'll be another must watch. All the majors are, the U.S. Open, and then that one is pretty cool to see too. So that would be an interesting one to see, especially with Rory. Obviously winning the Masters now. And going, so that'll be another good one to watch.
Heck yeah, I'm gonna be rooting for Rory again, so maybe he can pull it off.
That's quite a feat when you think of all the golfers that played. That there was only I think he's the sixth one to win all the majors,
right?
And career, so that's a pretty big feat, So you're kind of wishing for it, and especially he had he double bogeys one, and so you think, okay, here we go again, because that's what he always does at the Masters in the final round or two. He always kind of folds and goes down, and then he brought it back again, and then to see it on 18, it's like, oh man, you almost thought for sure that he wasn't going to do it, and then to hit that shot to the green on 18 was just unbelievable. That's a tap in for those guys,
right?
So it was kind of cool to watch because there's nothing else much around this time of the year.
Oh, for real. Yeah, my son's all amped up about WrestleMania this weekend, so that's what's going on at my house.
Watch too, so.
Oh yeah, so if you got Peacock, you can watch WrestleMania.
Correct. Yes. So we'll be tuning into that too. But it's this UFL league.
Yeah. What have we not talked about today? Oh, that garbage. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I mean, forget about it. I mean, I don't know if anybody's really tuning into it. I don't know anybody that I know around here. They don't talk about it because this is kind of like the dead time. I mean, everybody with the draft now. That's the talk around, and
Yeah, and I think on top of all that, it's I don't think that their time slots are that great. There's one on a Friday evening and a game on. It's kind of weird.
Where they try to get it in, I think ESPN does them or Fox does them, and it's okay, it's downtime now. Of course,
yeah.
You got all playoffs starting, so that gets kind of interesting to to somewhat, but. Other than that, it's just kind of you got, your golf, and then, college basketball's done now, so there's none of that watching, with the tournament. So now there's that big lull, and of course, baseball season started, but I'm a fan, but not much of a fan. Are you guys big baseball fans?
Not Blake and I are not really. I like going to a baseball game because of the experience, and it's really cool, but it's just hard for me to watch on TV. It's just
it's a slow-moving game. It's so boring. You know what I mean?
It really is. And I've been watching a lot of baseball, high school baseball, and that is pretty rough. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's pretty
I like to go watch T-ball and stuff. At least they're running around. They're chasing butterflies. It's pretty entertaining.
Yeah. So, oh man, it's
taking bets on which kid's gonna lose it and have a complete mental breakdown. You know what I mean? That's stuff
the
like
most
that
interesting thing about high school baseball is the parents in the stands.
Yeah.
That's entertaining.
Took the words right out of my mouth. It's kind of interesting to go see that stuff and see how the parents overreact to it and get all crazed and whacked out. That's more of interesting than the product on the field.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks their kid should be getting a scholarship, to college or whatever they're playing.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like that movie about the Odessa Permian football team. You know what I mean?
Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights. Yeah, where the parents are out there on the field yelling at their sons. Back in my day, I wouldn't have done that. That's real. That's real here in Texas. That's a real thing.
It's crazy. But anyways, so baseball, we follow the Rangers, and I can't even believe they won a World Series a couple years back. But we follow some of that. But I'm kind of gearing up from a gambler's perspective. I'm kind of getting ready for the NBA playoffs.
Oh, yeah. That's
and then I think the best playoffs that we have is the hockey. The NHL playoffs is so much fun.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting pumped for that too.
Yeah, the playoffs.
You got the
basketball are pretty good. Our team stinks so bad down here, though. It's just again, you try to get into it. I mean, I don't know because it was on national television with that play-in game with the Bulls last night.
Yeah.
I mean, how much you gave that, but I only gave it about 15 or 20 minutes, and I turned it off because it was just so bad. And it's like, really? I mean, come on, So
Yeah.
Well,
that was a
speaking
tough
of
one.
baseball, A&M is #1 in girls softball right
Oh
now.
yeah, Texas A&M is number
So that
one
means we're about to fall hard
in softball.
from grace. We'll probably not finish in the top 25 now that they went and did that to us. Anytime they rank A&M top 10 in anything, we fall all the way back. We're like, oh, we're #1. Yay, let's screw this up.
Our resident Aggie over here. Well,
God,
Big Frank, you have a great weekend. Enjoy WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah.
And,
all right, sounds good.
And we will be in touch, and we'll talk to you on draft day next week.
Yeah, a little bit before, see how it falls out, and then obviously the week after that,
we're gonna
get some more
know.
storylines
Oh, yeah.
to talk about.
And
So.
hopefully we're happy, and I'm not just enraged.
I imagine it's going to be a lot of enraging.
All right, Big Frank, you have a great day.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you later.
All right, see you, buddy.
So a movie I'm going to watch next week in preparation for the draft is actually Draft Day.
Draft Day. Have you seen
Love
Draft
that
Day?
movie. Oh, I love it.
It's great.
I love it.
When I first
I remember
saw
that
it,
got me kind of interested in the draft more.
Yeah.
I remember I'm not really like, I'd watch the combine and like,
Sure.
all right, I'll keep up with a couple picks. But then when I kind of watched that movie, and I don't know the accuracy of the movie, but I can understand it's pretty accurate.
That's kind of what goes down. Yeah.
That made me like, man, I wish we could like see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like see what all these teams are talking about behind closed doors and kind of what's going on. That'd be really interesting to me. But talking about WrestleMania, you jog my memory of back in like, I think it was 2012, 2011, something like that. Or 2012, 2013. 13, I think it was. We had like a group of dudes. We all wanted to watch WrestleMania.
Uh-huh.
Go to our friend, his name was James, and I don't think he's ever thrown a party after this. We destroyed that house. Like it got out of control. We were all drinking. And it wasn't like anybody was just belligerent, but we were having drinks, and our inner children came out.
Power bomb
and
time,
we were slamming dudes through tables. I choked a man unconscious because he was saying, whatever. And anyways, he like Goldberg speared me.
Oh yeah.
And I took it and just hooked it. And he just went out, like went limp. So then everyone's like panicking because this dude's like passed out on the floor. And, so we brought him back. He was fine. But anyway, I remember just tearing the couch up. We broke the TV. Like, we don't even know who won the WrestleMania that year because we were all just fighting.
That's awesome.
Like, and it was hilarious.
Yeah, I remember back in like my early high school years, it was it was backyard wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
You'd get tables out and chairs, and I don't see how nobody got very badly hurt doing that kind of thing. Probably because we were made out of rubber.
We had to take a friend of mine to the hospital one time because he had I don't know why, but he had a piercing right here.
Yeah.
Like a ring.
Ew.
And somebody, I guess, grabbed it, and I don't know how it happened. It ripped out, and he was just like spewing. And I remember being like, oh my God, what happened? And then he's like, oh, I have a whatever piercing. That was like really uncommon back then. Now everybody's probably got them now.
Got them all over the place.
I don't know. You may have one, Ben. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. But no, those are the best times to me.
Those were the best times.
Swimming pool, almost drowning in swimming pools because we're trying to do moves, off the diving board and stuff like that.
Power bomb, Boston crab.
Great.
One time, I had my buddy over, and it was really late, and I think we were still in middle school or junior high, whatever you call it, and he got me in the Boston crab.
Oh yeah.
And that will tear your abdominals.
That's terrible.
And I'm just like, it's really late. It's like 3 a.m. My parents are asleep. And I'm like, and he's like, Boston crab. And then I'm like screaming. My dad busts through the door. We're in the living room. And my dad flips out, scares the kid so bad that he calls his parents to come get him.
I would have too.
And so, that was my experience with that. So I made sure to never get into that maneuver again.
I don't think I physically could get it.
Yeah. So, man, I'm pumped about WrestleMania. Hell yeah.
Fun.
And then, so we've got some swords here today before we close up.
Oh, yeah.
And then I got another topic we always talk about shows and movies and things like this.
No.
But this is part of Blake's collection here of Conan the Barbarian swords.
Yep. So,
and tell us about them.
So years and years and years ago, I've always been a huge Conan fan. So years ago, I thought a cool gift for my dad would be the father's sword. from Conan the Barbarian, the original Conan. And so I got the son's sword and my dad the father's sword, and that'll go down to Jack, and then this will come down to me later, and then on down the line it'll go.
I love it. So this is, dude, it's heavy. These are not playing around heavy.
No, these
pieces
are
of steel.
like movie replica, not made for anything other than hang on the wall and just
definitely a beautiful wall hanger, but it has got weight.
I love the father's sword. Probably one of my favorite swords out there as far as looks go.
Yeah, this is really cool.
And so I don't know if you remember in the movie, the sword breaks.
Yeah.
And then he chops off the head of Alsa Doom with the broken piece of that sword.
Nice.
And I just kind of hacks him. But anyway, super cool. And then this is the one he finds when he runs, and he goes in the cave.
Yeah.
The wolves are chasing him, and he says Crom, and this giant skeleton just sitting there. The sword's kind of like, I don't know if you can see it, but it's stuck in the ground. His hand's on it, and you see this giant skeleton.
Oh yeah,
very
I'm gonna have to watch. I'm watching.
You know how on 13th Warrior, how Bullvi dies, very much like that. I just think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stab your sword in the ground, put your hand on it, and just you know what I mean? Super cool. Pretty cool sword. I love it. But anyways, that's where he found that sword, was in that cave, and that becomes his sword.
Dude.
He breaks all the rust or wherever the casing is around it.
Yeah.
Whatever happens over time. So that's sort of been there.
I'm watching Conan tonight.
So the Destroyer's on Netflix. I'm not sure if the Barbarian's on Netflix or not, but you can find it anywhere.
There you go.
But yeah.
Nice.
So I just rewatched both of them. And then there's a video game came out a while back called The Ghost of Tsushima. And this is the main character's little katana.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And it's pretty cool. I just got it because I just thought it was cool looking.
Yeah, no, that is cool.
And love the game. And I've been watching Legend of Heroes, which is a Chinese series. Got a ton of martial artists in it that are very popular in Chinese culture. I'm not even going to try to pronounce names because I will butcher them, but it is one of the best series I've seen. Just tipping the hat to old school Chinese martial arts.
Heck yeah.
Just all the different disciplines and the different folklore and all this stuff. Just so cool.
So I'm gonna be watching that after.
So it is super good. On I believe I found it on YouTube.
Okay, I'm gonna be watching that after Conan tonight.
Yeah.
And then the other show I wanted to kind of talk about for a second that you said you haven't seen yet, and it's been out for a long time, but they just dropped a new season. Is called The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
And it is like, it's crazy. It's very.
What's the premise?
Anxiety inducing.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, essentially, this America has been overtaken by this revolution within America, and it's called it turns into Gilead, is what they call it.
Oh, okay.
And it's really worth a watch.
What's like the name of the movement? Gilead type thing. Okay.
Absolutely. So, anyways, Handmaid's Tale. Give that a look. I'm just doing this real quick. Okay, so
that's on what, Netflix?
That is on Hulu.
Hulu. Okay.
Yeah, so we want to watch that because it is crazy awesome, and I'm also watching the Jason Momoa See.
I need to.
It's pretty cool. It's hard. Everybody's blind.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
And like it's because.
But I love the swordsman, and he's blind in that.
Yeah.
So that was super cool.
So it's pretty sweet, but different. I'm only on episode 3. So
what about? I know we haven't. I don't know if we talked Mobland.
Oh my God!
On that,
Tom Hardy and Pierce Brosnan, Dame Helen Mirren,
Helen Mirren, 1923, amazing.
Yeah.
Mobland, amazing.
She's incredible.
Came out of nowhere for me.
Yes, Helen
I know
Mirren.
She's been around forever, but I'm just saying, like, out of nowhere, just knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, man. Mobland gives us exactly what we want.
Yeah.
And it is very much British crime.
It's got
love it.
All of it. And Tom Hardy has another movie coming out on the 25th of this month on Netflix called Havoc. It is said to be John Wick on steroids.
Oh, yeah.
And I believe it because it's Tom Hardy, and I know
Yes.
he always
It's my
tries to
favorite.
just go crazy.
That's awesome. Okay, we got
Super good
draft
on
week
movies.
next week.
Yep.
We'll be back.
What's going on in the NASCAR world? real
NASCAR
quick? We forgot
world
to touch on
last
that.
weekend
Sorry.
was at Bristol,
Bristol.
and
Okay.
that's in like Alabama, I think.
I believe that's right.
But it was a fun race. I watched it.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the whole thing,
Yeah.
but I'm really enjoying the NASCAR thing. It's kind of, I read things that are not like a lot of the true NASCAR enthusiasts are like not happy with the way the races are going.
And that's what I was thinking. I'd heard it had taken a big hit, and I
Yeah.
didn't know if that was just politically because they, and that's been kind of not to be political about it, but I just think keep that separate.
Yeah.
Like, let's just enjoy the sport for what it is. Like, you can have your voice, that's great. Do it away from the, you know what I mean, thing. And I think I thought that maybe there was some going on with that, but apparently it's just everything's getting kind of
There's some of
washed
that, and I think the real issue with it is the quality of the races.
Yeah.
Is like they're not taking a lot of risks, and
Yeah, they're
it's
playing
like
it
this
safe.
one guy's just behind, like
Yeah.
the one guy will be leading for
Yeah.
40 laps,
Yeah.
and like it's not what they're used to seeing, and so along with, there's a controversial driver.
Do you think do they think that maybe the days of like the Dale Earnhardts and all that are over? They're
might
really
be.
aggressive drivers.
Yeah, it might
You
be,
know what
but
I mean?
somebody might come in there, some young guy might come in there and want to shake it up
do
and make
something,
this interesting.
Now, I need to research this, or maybe you may know. Is there different levels of pay? Is it like the NFL, whether you win or lose, you kind of
yeah,
you get like
it's-
a contract,
yeah,
and you're
these
you know
guys-
what I mean? Because to me, that kind of solves everything. Start hitting people's pocketbooks. Like NFL, you drop a pass, you lose money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, things like that, you lose money. You miss a field goal, you lose money. You know what I mean? Same thing with NASCAR. You're not constantly finishing so high.
Yeah.
You lose money. I
Yeah.
don't know. How that works in NASCAR, but
yeah, that's worth
to
looking
me, that's
into.
an easy fix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Start affecting people's pocketbooks.
Yes.
And they'll start, you know what I mean,
Heck yeah.
being more aggressive, I would assume.
Yeah, and there's a race on May 2nd or 4th. Maybe
Oh,
it's
yeah.
May
Is
4th
that the
in
one
Fort Worth.
Fort Worth you were telling me
And
about?
it would be fun to go just check that out
Yeah.
and see what that's all about.
Yeah.
And I just may do that. But yeah. Heck of a deal next week.
I think
Draft.
you can bring your own beer there, too.
Yeah.
I hope.
And then we've got, we've pretty much got it all covered today. We got a Cotton Warehouse Live concert on May the 9th. Everybody come out.
Oh, they have the Mayor's Pub Crawl.
The Mayor's Pub Crawl.
I believe it's this weekend or next.
Okay.
It's coming up. Pretty cool. I think you can go online and get your stuff for it. But it's pretty neat. Seems interesting. I hadn't heard about it. Forgive me, Abilene, for not hearing about it
Right.
till recently. But I got sent a deal on it and just thought it was kind of cool. But yeah, it's called the Mayor's Pub Crawl.
Okay.
I believe there's 10 or 12 different establishments. Sammy, do you know much about who's all involved in that or who's not?
Sounds like a new one.
I think it is a newer thing, but you go around and apparently you have drinks.
Yeah. Yeah.
At all these places, they have a special drink. I think you get maybe and
Cool.
It may be like the burger thing. You remember? They had
Yeah,
the burger thing.
the
Not that
burger
long ago?
brawl.
Maybe something like that. I don't know. So I don't know much more about it. Just a little happening thing that's going on in Abilene.
All right. Well, check
So-
that out, folks. And don't forget to come to the Majestic and get you a cup of coffee or a cold drink.
Little
And
tea.
Got
The tea
snacks.
is lovely.
All kinds of good snacks here. And it is, I guess, time for us to wrap it up, Sammy. And we will see you guys, Breakdown fam, next week for the draft. Enjoy WrestleMania. And I'm going to just have some fun watching these dudes and ladies throw each other around.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
All right. Thanks to our technical producer extraordinaire, Sammy. And
Sam.
thanks to Jan and Hair and Makeup for showing up once again today. And all of our fans out there in the internet world, and as well as our live audience. They're muted right now, but there's tons of them out there. But anyways, y'all have a great rest of your week. Enjoy WrestleMania and NASCAR. A little bit of golf.
A little bit of golfy poop.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Watch Conan.
Watching Conan. I'm watching that tonight.